What's up, everybody? Welcome to Last Man Standing, episode number 34. Here to react live to the Circa Survivor selection counts for the NFL Week 16 slate. There's a lot to discuss. I think a little bit of surprises. We had some football games today to talk about. There were also 5 key injuries today from those games that I think are going to impact the Christmas Day slate as well. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that. I say we, it's really only me today. No Ryan today. He had some prior engagements. So you guys are stuck with me flying this plane by myself today. So first, let's go ahead and talk about these games today real briefly. No real surprises. It was kind of a chalky day in terms of betting. But the 5 injuries, Tank Dell's injury was just devastating for the Texans. If you are on the Ravens on Christmas, if you're planning on pulling the trigger, if you survive this week, you've got to be liking the fact that the Texans are not only going to be down Tank Dell, their guard, Shaq Mason, they're saying he's going to undergo more tests on his knee. There are some indications that he avoided serious injury, but we got a 4-day turnaround. Is he going to be ready for Wednesday? The Texans might be down 2 guys. And then, Jimmy Ward got hurt today too for the Texans. So Jimmy Ward is a safety who can play in the slot. The Texans just lost Petrie, who is a safety who can play in the slot as well. So we're talking about a Texans defense that's going to be down a couple of key players, and then again without Tank Dell on offense. So bad news for everybody else that isn't planning on taking the Ravens on Christmas. Hill, the Ravens' backup running back, was hurt today. That looked like a pretty nasty concussion. I can't imagine in any scenario he's going to be playing on Christmas. So the Ravens will be without Justice Hill. That was a nasty shot that he took. He's been targeted 5+ times in 3 out of his last 4 games. So you think, he's just a backup running back, no big deal. But he's also a decent little part of their passing game as well. And for the Chiefs, I have no idea how serious this injury was. I just kind of saw it peripherally today on the TV. Noah Gray went out, the number 2 tight end for the Chiefs. It's a big part of their passing game as well. If anybody was watching that game and wants to comment and let me know if Noah Gray returned or if you guys have any additional information on him, that would be helpful. But like I said, I am flying this ship solo today. Bob, I appreciate the comment here. So if you guys want to chime in, especially those of you who are still alive in Circa Survivor, would love to hear from you. Would love to hear who you ended up taking for Circa Survivor, why you ended up taking them. Let me know how excited you are for tomorrow's games. Would love to hear from some of you guys again today, especially because I'm flying solo here. But without further ado, let's go ahead and pull up these selection counts. We can react to these. Here we go. We got 21 on the Packers. 25 people had the Packers available. So 4 people either didn't like the Packers matchup, which I find very hard to believe, against the Saints on Monday night in Green Bay, in the cold, versus an indoor team without Derek Carr, without Alvin Kamara. I think those 4 people are saying, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and save the Packers for the last week of the season against the Bears, when there will be no more than 4 people who could possibly have the Packers. And if the field gets whittled down a little bit further, they're going to be in a situation where they can be on an island the last week of the season. And on an island the last week of the season is a really nice place to be. Number 2 selection, Cincinnati Bengals against DTR. We talked about this, how the Browns are going to be down several pieces and Njoku's banged up. Jameis Winston is going to be taking a back seat here to DTR, who's not a very good quarterback. DTR is a guy who threw 2 interceptions earlier this game against that same Cincinnati team. So 9 people here trusting the Bengals. One of those guys trusting the Bengals had the Packers available, at least one of them. That was House. Interacted with him a little bit on Twitter earlier today. Saw something that he posted, or maybe it was in the Discord. Maybe it was the Survivor Atlas Discord, where he said he went with the Bengals here. So clearly he's thinking Packers might have some value week 18. We don't know if that game week 18 is going to mean anything. Not saying it's a bad idea from House, because the team that I'm on, we thought long and hard about this and definitely considered taking Cincinnati or getting off Green Bay so that we can save them. So I'm not criticizing the decision by any means, but just saying we don't know for sure that that Green Bay game is going to have value. But obviously, anybody that had Green Bay and went Cincinnati feels good enough about Cincinnati in this spot. and it's understandable, especially after Denver losing Thursday night. You got to figure this is going to be a really motivated, really focused Cincinnati team with the playoffs getting a little bit more realistic each and every week, it seems like. 8 people are trusting Michael Penix, you guys. 8 people are trusting a guy who's never thrown a pass in an NFL regular season game. He's only thrown actually, did he even play in the preseason? I think he did toward the end, right? But they sat him for those first couple preseason games. Not only are 8 people trusting a rookie quarterback, they're trusting a rookie quarterback who has not started an NFL game. That's an interesting move. The Falcons also have the Panthers week 18. So those 8 people obviously feel okay about who they've got week 18, or they're just saying, I'm not going to worry about week 18 yet. I'm going to hope some other opportunity opens up with maybe some injuries or something else that could take place. So interesting there. Not total surprise. I thought there'd be around 8 people there. Here is the surprise, though. Only 7 people were on the Bills. And if you're watching this, I'm curious if you're maybe a little surprised. There were 16 people who had the Bills available. Remember, they've got the Jets next week, and they end with the Patriots. We don't know if the Bills are going to be competitive in that game against the Patriots, if they're going to be sitting guys or not. That's certainly a possibility. Week 17 against the Jets, you heard Ryan say last week, he thinks the Bills could possibly go down in that game. If I had the Bills, even if I had the Bills and Packers, I would have pulled the trigger on the Bills here. So I'm surprised that only 7 of the 16 people took the Bills here against the Patriots. Christian Barmore is going to miss this game. Seems like a really, really good spot to pull the trigger on Buffalo. I was a little surprised to see that. How about this one? 4 people, including NFL Wise Guys, who has 2 selections left on the Cardinals. Think about that. Wise Guys who got through with back-to-back overtime games, 2 of the same selections on them, and then got by last week in that ridiculous game where the Saints almost came back and won that game. So this dude is just rolling 7s every time. And once again, putting both entries here on the Cardinals. And then we've got one person who goes ahead and takes the Buccaneers. So the Sunday night football game, Cowboys-Bucks, is going to have some Circa Survivor interest. I love when the primetime games have interest for Circa Survivor. I'm going to go ahead and read the availabilities here. So 22 people had Tampa. Only 1 person took the Bucks. 40 had Arizona. As we said, 4 people took them. And 45 had Atlanta, and only 8 took them. I'm wondering how much higher that Atlanta number would have been if Kirk Cousins was still playing. Now, Penix could be an upgrade over Kirk Cousins. I suspect he's going to be an upgrade over Kirk Cousins. The Falcons' ceiling gets higher, but I think their floor gets a little lower too. It's just tough to pull the trigger on a rookie quarterback who's making his first start. But 8 people are saying, you know what, Tony, I'm not worried about that. The Falcons are going to be okay against the Giants team that might be tanking in this game. This is going to be an interesting week going forward because I think we're going to learn a little bit about the Giants and the Raiders. How much fight do these 2 teams have? These are the 2 teams that will be picking 1-2 in the NFL draft. How much fight do the Giants have? How much fight do the Falcons have? That's another thing to be watching for these games this weekend. When you're watching the Falcons against the Giants, if you're not on Atlanta, if you're on the Bengals, Green Bay, Bills, etc., as you're rooting for the Giants to upset the Falcons, keep an eye on their energy levels. Keep an eye on the intensity of that Giants team. I want to know if the Giants have quit already. A lot of injuries in a tough spot here. Let's see how much fight the Giants have. I think we're going to learn a little something there. We got a comment coming in. Bob says, congrats, Smithson Valley Rangers topped Dallas Highland Park Scots. What is this? In the Class 5A? Look at that. I think this is a high school football game. Congratulations. Love it. Bob says, put $14 million on the line with the rookie. Man, I mean, at the end of the day, it is an 8.5-point favorite, though, right? So you got to be feeling somewhat good about that. But there's a lot of people hoping that Michael Penix is going to be living up to the hype in this game. I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts about these injuries today. If you were planning on taking the Ravens, do you feel a little bit better? Anybody who has some Christmas decisions to be made out there, let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm also curious if anybody else is going to be going out to Circa. You planning on going out there for week 18 if you're still alive? Are you planning on going out there for the award ceremony back-to-back weekends? I think it's the weekend after the regular season ends. Let me know what you guys are thinking. What are your hedging strategies? People planning on a chop, perhaps. I'm looking at my notes here. Monday Night Football, Packers, Saints, 21 people on the Packers. I think that feels pretty safe. I think the Packers people are feeling pretty good. The entry that my team is on the Packers. But there's going to be a lot of people rooting for them. If you get through on Sunday, that's going to be a fun watch on Monday Night Football in the elements up in Green Bay, rooting for the Packers to go down and have the field almost reduced in half. 21 people on Green Bay there in that spot. All right, we're not getting a lot of comments, so I think we can wrap this show up right now. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back Tuesday, despite the fact that it's going to be Christmas Eve. We're going to be back Tuesday. Ryan will be joining us as well. So we will preview all of the Christmas and Week 17 games on that Tuesday show. Thank you guys for watching. I know some of you are still alive in Circa Survivor, so best of luck. Cherish this moment. Soak it up. You never know when your Circa Survivor journey is going to end. So best of luck out there, friends. Take care.